Hi everyone. All right, today's video is about properties of numbers for Algebra 1. Let's get into it. Oh, by the way, my name is Ryan. This is Math with RG. Welcome to the channel. All right, here we go. So, the very first category we have is properties of equality. The first one is reflexive. All right, so let's take a look at an example of this. So, any quantity is equal to itself. So what does that mean? Well, we can say something like 3 equals 3. Or we could say something like 2 plus 5 equals 2 plus 5. So that is reflexive property of equality. All right, let's go to the next one. So now we have symmetric. Symmetric, what does that mean? Well, symmetric property is if one quantity equals a second quantity, then the second quantity equals the first quantity. All right, so here we go. If we have something like if 5 equals 2 plus 3, then 2 plus 3 equals 5. That is symmetric property of equality. All right, let's go to the next one, transitive. All right, so here we go with transitive property of equality. If one quantity equals a second quantity, and the second quantity equals a third quantity, then the first quantity will equal the third quantity. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's try out this example. Here we go. So, if 5 plus 8 equals 4 plus 9. Okay, so if 5 plus 8 equals 4 plus 9, right? So 5 plus 8 is 13. 4 plus 9 is also 13. So then we say, and 4 plus 9 equals 13. And then 5 plus 8 will also equal 13. So again, if the first quantity equals the second quantity, and the second quantity equals the third quantity, then the first quantity will equal the third quantity. That's transitive property of equality. All right, next up we have, substitution property of equality. Here we go. All right, a quantity may be substituted for its equal in any expression. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means that if I say something like x equals 4, okay, and then I give you the expression, let's say the expression is 6x. Well, then you can just substitute, right? So 6x means 6 times x. So we can just substitute. So it will say 6 times 4. And then you can figure out what it is, 24. That is substitution property of equality. All right, let's keep it moving. So now we are on to addition properties. This is in the same category for properties of numbers. Now we're doing addition properties. All right, so the very first one we have is additive identity. So let's do an example about that. Okay, so that is for any number, if we add 0 to it, the sum will just be that number, right? So let's do an example. Let's say we have 0 plus 5, right? So that is just going to equal 5. And even if we wrote it the other way, 5 plus 0, that still is equal to 5. So it's called additive identity, right? We're adding 0 both times, but the identity does not change. It stayed 5 both times. Okay, so now we have additive inverse. So let's check that out. So for addition properties, we have additive inverse now. Oh, what does that mean? So a number and its opposite are additive inverses of each other. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if I say something like 7 plus -7, well, that's actually just 7 minus 7, which equals 0. Okay? So again, additive inverse, a number and the inverse, right? So the opposite of it added together equals 0. And we could also just simply write it as this: 5 minus 5 equals 0. Okay, so that was additive inverse. Let's keep it moving. Okay, so now for properties of numbers, Algebra 1, we're doing multiplication properties. All right, so the very first one is multiplicative identity. What does that mean? All right, so for any number, the product of that number and 1 is just that number. Okay, so let's do an example. Here we go. For any number, let's pick a random one. Let's say 8. And we multiply it by 1. What is the answer? Anything times 1 is just that first number. So 8 times 1 will just be 8. Okay, pretty good. Here we go. Now we have multiplicative property of 0. So let's check this out. All right, so what does that mean? Well, for any number times 0, the answer will just be 0. So let's do an example. Here we go. 6 times 0 equals 0. And of course you can go the other way, right? So 0 times 6 equals 0. By the way, same up here. If I went 1 times 8, that would still be 8. Okay, so now we have one more for this section, which is multiplicative inverse. All right, well, what does that mean? So for every number, okay, there is exactly one number such that the product of those two numbers equals 1. So for example, if we do something like 1/3 times 3/1, then that's going to equal, we do 1 times 3 on the top, we do 3 times 1 on the bottom, we get 3/3. What did I say about fractions? All fractions are division problems. So we do 3 divided by 3 and we get 1. So multiplicative inverse. Let's say again, what does that mean? It means that whatever number that you choose, right, if you flip it over and then multiply them together, you will get 1 every time. Let's do another example. Let's say it was 1/5 times 5/1. We're still going to get 5/5, which equals 1 again. Okay. Here we go. We're almost done with the properties. So here we go for properties of numbers, commutative property. Now, I've been tutoring for a long time, and what I've noticed is that this word gets jumbled up all the time. So it's not commutative, it's commutative. Commutative property. And we're talking about for addition and multiplying. All right, so what does it mean? Well, it means that the order in which you add or multiply literally does not matter. So here we go. I could say 2 plus 3 equals 5. Then I can say 3 plus 2 also equals 5. Okay. Another example for multiplication would be, let's say 7 times, let's go 9 equals 63. Well, 9 times 7 also equals 63. So, commutative property, the order in which you add or multiply does not matter. Now, can you do this with subtraction? No, because the order will matter. Can you do this with division? No, because the order will matter. All right, next up we have associative property for addition and multiplying. Here we go. What is the associative property? The associative property is, or it has to do with the way you group things together. Okay? So when you see a grouping like this, let's say it was 4 plus 5 and then plus 7. Okay? This right here will be the same answer as if I did this. 4 and then plus the group of 5 plus 7. So all I'm doing here is that I'm not changing the order, I'm just changing the grouping, right? Well, what is 4 plus 5? That's 9. Plus 7. Then over here, this one says 4, and then I do the group of 5 plus 7 first. That's 12. Well, what is 9 plus 7? That is 16. And what is 4 plus 12? That is 16. So, for associative property, you change the grouping, but it does not change the answer. They're still equal to each other. All right, let's talk about the difference between associative property and commutative property, because you'll see this a lot on tests. They'll ask you, is this commutative or is this associative? Commutative is that the order does not matter, right? So 2 plus 3 is 5, and 3 plus 2 is still 5, or 7 times 9 is 63, and 9 times 7 is still 63. For associative property, I'm changing the grouping. So I'm putting the parentheses on the first two, and then in the second one, I'm putting the parentheses on the second two. But you can see they're still in the same order, right? 4, 5, 7, and then 4, 5, 7. So that is the difference. Now, let's take a look at multiplication for associative property. So, you know, if we have, let's say, 6 times 3 times 2, that's going to be the same as 6, and then times parenthesis 3 times 2. Well, let's prove it. All right, so we're going to do the parentheses first. So we have 6 times 3, that's 18, and then times 2. And then here we have 6 times, and then the parenthesis 3 times 2, that's 6. So we have 18 times 2, that is 36. And then we have 6 times 6, that is also 36. So again, as you can see, for the associative property of addition and multiplying, you do not, it does not matter that the grouping changes. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.